All right, there she sits. That is my custom camper build. So for those people that have not been following along, this is a camper. It's sitting on the ground now, but it's made to go in the back of a custom flatbed converted Tacoma and be a super lightweight, go anywhere camper that has plenty of luxuries like air condition. So you can see this side looks different than the side over there. The door would be here. That little notch would actually be for air conditioning. And then we've got a pretty big roof. I was going to dedicate the whole roof to solar. So you'd have absolutely no problem running air conditioner or any other electronics, heaters, induction cooktops. No problem running that stuff off grid. But anyways, it's sitting right here and not inside of the garage, and I haven't done an update on it in a while. And I know some people are pretty excited about the camper build, so I wanted to do this. But essentially why it's sitting here and why I'm making this video is because I'm thinking about changing the construction method on this camper, which would mean pretty much scrapping all of that. It's about 2 months of work sitting behind you there. Jeez, I got a dangerous backyard here. Anyways, so we'll get into why I'm thinking about changing the construction methods on this guy and show you what other project I'm actually going to divert my time to while I'm thinking about either saving this or going to a different construction method. So to start, this camper is built totally out of aluminum. What I would essentially be doing is, it would look largely the same. The design of it's not going to change, but the construction can change. So I'd change all of this to what's called FRP. So I've heard the stuff called as fiber reinforced plastics or fiber reinforced polymers. They essentially have two different names, but FRP is a much better option than aluminum. There's a lot of companies that build in kind of the way I'm building, which is like you make this frame thing, like that's the entire frame, like all the metal that would be in it, and then you would bond foam walls to the outside, and those foam walls are actually structural. It's a good way to do campers because those foam walls are very rigid and they insulate incredibly well, and they're super light. So one of the big reasons why I want to move away from aluminum is what's called thermal expansion. So when this thing's fully built and those foam panels are bonded to the various surfaces on this thing to create walls in a fully enclosed structure, the aluminum expands quite a lot under heating. So I mean, it wouldn't be measurable like with a measuring tape or by eye, but it's moving quite a lot. And when those foam panels are bonded to it, they really don't like expanding. So essentially what can happen over time is with aluminum cycling in and out from thermal expansion, essentially you'll like fatigue the adhesive and then your walls will delaminate from the aluminum. That's obviously a bad thing. It's going to leak. And since the walls are structural in this design, you're losing structure. So another problem with a aluminum welded frame like I have here is warping. So it's not specific to aluminum, to any welding process, but essentially when you do a weld, you get warping. It's just the nature of the weld being super, super hot and then cooling down. Don't mind all this black stuff, by the way. If you scrape this off, it looks like a normal, pretty weld. Well, not all of them are pretty, some are bad, but anyways, they're black because it's a MIG weld. Like that stuff just comes off with a wire brush. I just don't need to do it because I might not be saving this thing. But yeah, warping is an issue because, like I said before, you have to bond walls up in here. So sometimes they're not straight and it's kind of a pain. It could be a pain to bond walls to it. Obviously, this has no walls. I don't know if it's a pain yet or not, but I know all of these surfaces aren't flat because of all of these welds. So the other big one is, while this is aluminum and it is very light, if you were to switch to composites or FRP in place of this aluminum, it would actually be even lighter. Weight's not of a huge concern. I'm confident this is going to be very, very light and very, very strong. But that little mid-sized truck there, or essentially all mid-sized trucks, are just not rated to tow a tremendous amount of weight. And the camper's going to be heavy because I'm having air conditioning, batteries, big solar, fridge, all of this stuff adds weight. So I want to keep the frame of the camper as light as possible without compromising on strength. And FRP is going to make it even lighter. And the other big thing is one day, I'm just building this camper for me, but one day I'd like to build my own campers, like start a company doing that, and you wouldn't do it this way. The bonded FRP instead of welded aluminum is an easier way to assemble things. I didn't know that before I started, and I kind of discovered it after. So yeah, I'd like to build the way that both the industry builds and both the way I would like to build a camper, assuming I had a company. But that said, I don't think it's really, this is completely usable. I could most likely Like, I know people that have done campers just like this. So what's the name of the YouTube channel? I think it's Ambition Strikes. If I got that right, I'll leave it down in the description so you can go see their channel and search for camper build. They built it largely the same way. So it was an aluminum frame with L channels. So that's what all this stuff is. And then they bonded their walls to it. Great insulation. They didn't report any issues with their camper, and they've had it for like 2 years or something like that. This is built the same way. This will most likely work if I continue to build this way, but I'd like to make it the best thing possible and something that I'm actually going to build if this were a company. So that's what's going on with the camper. Essentially, I'm going to take some time to decide whether I want to save this design and keep pushing forward with it, which I think will work, or go to a FRP design, and we're going to do some stuff on a router table too, and that will increase the precision and the fit and stuff like that. This was all done by hand. But anyways, I'm going to kind of weigh the benefits of cost versus essentially the cost that I already have sunk into this versus building a new one, and see if that's going to be worth it to me or not. We'll see. But in the meantime, camper build is going to sit right there. I already have a lot of the electronics and stuff like that, like the batteries, the air conditioner, the fridge, all of that stuff. So I'm going to put all of that stuff into this. So this garage right behind me has built all kinds of crazy stuff. The custom flatbed on the truck, the bumper, the sliders on there. It's built the camper and a bunch of other projects that are not mine. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all that stuff and I'm going to put it into this trailer here. I know it looks like a mess because I'm building out a wall in here, but essentially the first 8 feet of this trailer is going to be a workshop. And then the next 4 feet behind that is going to be a living quarters. So we'll be able to live and fabricate pretty much anywhere. And I already have, it's not going to cost a lot because I already have all the stuff for the camper that I could just use in this, and then when I'm ready to start building the camper again, just move all this stuff to the camper, and we can do all of that on the road. At least that's the theory. It's going to be way more tricky to do off-grid fabrication than it will to be able to just do it in here. So stay tuned, we'll see. So there's a bunch of other custom builds on the channel. Make sure and check those out if you think you'd be interested. And remember, your dreams don't die until you let them. Thanks for watching.